Hello everybody, this is Shivam Rachel back again with another video on a video series of CSI and Jara for Sciences. So in this video, I am going to talk about deep ocean circulations. Now this video is on the special request of Raja, Gayatri, Abhishek and 6 other students. This video is very important as far as CSIR is concerned. It's not like surface current which is easy, which is kind of there you have to mug something, you have to buy hard something, but here it's all conceptual. And mark my words, this chapter will really going to help you in your exam. Okay, see, this is kind of difficult, this is kind of conceptual, and I will try to make it as easy as possible. Okay, so be there with me till the end of this video if you really want to crack CSIR. This video is going to be long. Okay, so yeah, deep ocean circulations. So just like a wind, where we have a movement of air from one place to another place because of pressure difference, and this pressure difference is generated because of insolation difference. Here also, for circulation of water mass, for circulation of ocean water, what we need three things. These three things are, first, over here these crystals are basically crystals of salt, so you can say salinity is important, salt is important. Second one is insolation, so it is indirectly related to temperature. And the third one is wind. So three things is responsible for whole ocean circulation, whether it is a surface or deep. We'll see how it simply cause deep circulation and surface circulation. Okay, now this is your typical ocean. Okay, now here we can see that the above done 10%, the first 10% depth is basically having movement due to air. Okay, now why air is moving? Because it is having pressure difference in two different regions. Because of PGF, air is moving, it puts some friction on the surface of water, and because of this friction, water is moving in the direction of wind. Okay, now as we move down, hydrostatic pressure will increase, since the weight overlying that region, suppose this layer is over here, some layer is over here the height is more, right? The depth of water over here is more, so overlying weight is more, and because of that, the velocity, as we move down, velocity will decrease. Okay, because of there is more friction, because there is now contact is different on the surface. Contact is in between air and water. As we move down, there is a contact of water, so there is a friction between water layer. Okay, the remaining 90% is basically having deep ocean circulation. So here in the 90% we have deep ocean, in the 10% we have circulation because of this wind. Okay, wind activity. Now suppose the depth of ocean is say 4000 meters, so first 400 meters is having effect of wind, and remaining 3600 meters is having effect of your deep ocean circulations. So this is your 400 meter. As we move down, the velocity and the magnitude of current will decrease. Okay, surface current will decrease. Now, for deep currents, for deep ocean circulation, we need to know first about different water masses. So when I say water mass and air mass, there is a slight difference. In a case of air mass, there are two parameters which define any air mass. The first one is your temperature, and the second one is your moisture. So remember, cold fronts, warm fronts, there what we have? We have differential air masses, right, along these fronts, and these air masses is having different temperature and moisture. But in a case of water mass, what we have is different temperature but different salinity also. Okay, so temperature and salinity both matters in water masses. In air mass, it's a temperature as well as moisture. Okay, now the first one is your temperature. Let's consider temperature. So here we can see that this blue jar representing cold water, and this red jar is representing warm water. And we can clearly see that this cold water is more massive than this warm water. What is the reason? The reason is, when you cool something, it simply contracts. So in a small volume, now you have more mass, and we know that density is equal to mass by volume. So the density over here will be more than this one. See another photo. We have said two different water masses in Indian Ocean. This is your Indian Ocean. One is on the top, one is on the bottom. So the water mass which is on the top, that means it is lighter. And why it is lighter? Because the number of molecules in a particular volume is less. Here we have 3, 3, 6, 6 or 3, 9. Total number of molecules is 9. But what about here? The total number of water molecules in a particular volume is more than 9, right? And yeah, that's clear, no? As we move down, temperature will increase, so it becomes cool. Cold thing will simply contract and it will have more mass, like this. Okay, mass will increase. The second thing is salinity. So now suppose we have two water masses. One is your fresh water mass, and one is your saline water mass. So suppose this is relatively fresh. Say this is a river water. We are close to the estuary, and here we are in the mid of the ocean. There we have more number of sodium and chlorine. Okay, so because of now sodium ions and chlorine ions in between these water molecules, the overall density will increase, right? Are you getting or not? Suppose in a you have two glasses of water, one is your fresh, one is your having some salt. So it is having now mass of that salt also, no? Na plus Cl has some mass. So each atom is turning into ions and each ions is now having some mass. So it will increase, right? The density will increase. Okay, now we know that density of water mass is a function of temperature as well as salinity. So if temperature will decrease, density will increase because of contraction. Because now in a same amount of volume there is more mass. Second relation, if salinity will increase, density will also increase. So here the density of this water mass will be more than this one because of salinity. And if we compare temperature, density of low temperature water mass will be more than the warm one. Is this clear? So when we warm anything, it will expand. When we increase the salt content, it will simply increase the density. Now here we have typical video how this whole circulation, thermohaline circulation works. I will discuss detail about this thermohaline circulation. So here orange one is your surface currents, and you can see here this surface current is turning into a cold current which is moving on the ocean floor. It is moving all across the globe on the ocean floor, and at some point it comes to the surface and again it will sink. And here the one complete circle is there. This complete circle is basically Antarctic circumpolar current, world largest current, you can say. World largest current it is. So I will discuss the whole animation. By the end of this video you will come to know why this collaborative, okay, why this is happening actually. Okay, so yeah, so before that, let's explain this diagram. So this is your equator. Here we have North Pole, 90-degree north. This is your 90-degree south. We can see that there is no pycnocline at the pole, but there is a pycnocline in the mid-latitude region as well as in the equatorial or tropical region. Now in the tropical and equatorial region, that is your 0 to 30 degree, and this much region is tropical region, and this is your mid latitude region somewhere here. So here the pycnocline is prominent. Okay. Now pycnocline is what? Pycnocline is basically a layer where in the ocean where density varies very drastically. Okay, the change of density is very high. That is your pycnocline, and pycnocline is a function of thermocline as well as halocline. Thermocline is a variation of temperature with depth, and halocline is a variation of salinity with depth. Okay, so in the polar region there is no thermocline and there is no pycnocline also, but sometimes we have halocline. Why there is a halocline in the polar region is basically depends upon season. In the summer season there is a melting of this thing, uh, ice. So because of melting of ice, more and more fresh water is discharged. At that point of time halocline disappears. But in the cold times, in the winter times, there is a formation of ice, and during formation of ice we know that salt always remain in the water, only fresh water freezes, so it will increase the salt content from surface to the deep oceans. And in this way, here we have some seasonal halocline. Okay. There is also a decothermal layer. What is this decothermal layer in the polar region? So decothermal layer is basically when a cold water is sandwiched between two warm waters. That is called decothermal layer. Okay, I will discuss this in a separate video. Just now समझ लो इतना कि this cold water when sandwiched between two warm waters, one is your surface warm water and another one is your deep warm water, that is called decothermal layer. Okay. In the mid latitude, the pycnoclines are seasonal in nature. So during winter months at mid latitudes we have a strong mixing. During summers, mixing के कारण क्या होगा? There is no pycnocline. Pycnocline disappears. But in summer, pycnocline forms. Here, all across the this thing month, we have pycnocline in the tropical region. Okay, so this surface current and deep current. Now the question is why pycnocline is important in deep ocean circulations. It is important. It is important. In the previous video, you can see that here everything is going down in the polar regions, right? यहाँ सब चीज polar regions में ही क्यों जा रहा है? Why it is moving down? Why this surface current suddenly turning into this thing, deep ocean currents? Why? Why on the pole only? Because there is no pycnocline at all. See, here it is going down. If there is a pycnocline, that means there is a some layer which hinder the movement, which hinder the vertical movement. So that's the reason why water is moving down at the same time it is moving up also. It is common in the polar regions. Yes, true, I accept even in the tropical region, even in the mid latitude region, there are some places where we have vertical motion, and those zones are basically zones of upwelling and downwelling, but it's not a global thing. It's a local phenomena. Okay, the upwelling and downwelling is a local phenomena. I will discuss later. So this is very important. This pycnocline concept should be important for understanding mixing of surface current with the deep currents, how the surface current is turning into deep current and hence it is turning into the whole thermohaline circulation, meridional oscillation. Okay, so in the polar region water is cold, no doubt insolation is less, so it will be cold. At the same time during winters there is a formation of ice, so more and more salt is added to the water, and if you add more and more salt to the same water, then what will be the resultant? It will increase the density, right? So water will sink, and once it will sink it will spread all across the globe in the abyssal plain, and the formation of water masses is based on the amount of salinity, amount of temperature. Okay, I will discuss that also. So thermocline currents are basically density driven currents, and density is a function of temperature difference and salinity. So here we can see that at poles there is no pycnocline at all. So these are isothermal as well as isopycnal, but they are not isohalines. Why they are not isohalines? Because seasonally there is a formation of ice, and during formation of ice salt is getting added. So at that point of time it is no more isohaline, but in summers we can say it is isohaline. Okay, so that is the different thing. And in the tropical as well as equatorial region we have a strong pycnocline. Okay, and at mid latitude somewhere you can say 45 degree 40 degree, the isopycnal layers are seasonal in nature. Okay, in winters because of this mixing isopycnal layers will decrease, and in summers the length of isopycnal layer will increase. Okay, now thermohaline circulation. So thermo means temperature. It's related to temperature. Thermo and haline means salt. So it is a density driven because temperature and salinity decide density. Okay. So less the temperature, more the salinity, more the density. Right. So yeah, that's the reason why we call it as a thermohaline circulation. And it is also known as meridional oscillation. Meridional is basically term used for meridians. Meridians matlab what? Longitudes. So longitudinal this is This is like this, no? Okay, circulation. So here we can see that there are various spots in the world ocean where this water goes down, and there are some spots where this water comes up. So here we can see that here in the close to Greenland, here it is going down and moving all the way, and finally coming to the surface in these regions, in these regions, in these regions. I will show you the whole this thing animation on this. So near this Antarctica, here we can see near this Antarctica, surface water cools and become high density, and finally it sinks. In this way, it creates a densest water over here, which is also known as Antarctica bottom water. Okay, and here also it sinks, which is called North Atlantic water mass, bottom water mass. Okay, so these are the regions where it sinks, and in the equatorial region, it simply comes up because of upwelling. I will describe why this upwelling and downwelling takes place later. Okay, so this is called conveyor belt circulation also. Okay, is this clear? So see this video. This is very important. Uh, it's not playing. Yeah, it's playing. Have a look. So the dark line is on the top, and the faint line is moving at the bottom of the ocean floor. Now, wait a second. Okay, let me play again. Sorry for the disturbance, guys. Wait. So I'm playing again so that I can stop at a particular point. इसको थोड़ा बड़ा कर देते हैं. Let's make it big. Okay. So देखो, this is your Greenland. Okay. Now here we have Antarctica. On the top of it, here we have Antarctica. Sorry, Arctic. Sorry. My bad. This is Arctic region. Okay, I got confused. So Arctic region is surrounded by land. Okay, and this Arctic region is nothing but a sea ice. Okay, so it's a sea which is surrounded by land, where Antarctica is a land which is surrounded by water. Here, water is surrounded by the land, and Antarctica is a land which is surrounded by the water. So remember, in Arctic region, we have sea ice. It's not a ice sheet. Ice sheet is this one, Greenland. Okay. Now, we can also see that this Greenland is surrounded by cold water. See, the water over here is basically cold, no, it's at high latitude. So it is surrounded by cold water, but from this side only, from like one side, you can say. What about Antarctica? Antarctica is actually surrounded by cold current, that is ACC, Antarctic Circumpolar Current, from all the sides. And you know that if anything is surrounded by cold current, their amount of precipitation is less. So where is less precipitation? In Antarctica or Arctic? Arctic means I am talking about this Greenland region. Okay, where we have less precipitation. Here it is surrounded by cold current in only one side. Okay, but Antarctica is surrounded from all the sides. So that's the reason why snowfall is very less in Antarctica. It's in millimeter. Okay, in millimeters sometimes, but comparatively in Greenland snowfall is more. Okay, is this clear? We know now close to cold currents there is always a desert. Remember, close to Peru, Chile, we have Atacama desert. Close to uh, this thing, Bengula, we have another African deserts, right? Canary current के पास we have this American deserts. Australia के पास Livonian current, there we have deserts, right? So now it is sinking over here. Now why water is sinking in this region? Think of it. Here the particular region is at high latitude. That means the water is no doubt cold, and in winters the amount of the temperature is very less, so density will increase. At the same time, there is a formation of sea ice in the Arctic region. So during formation of sea ice, more and more salt is getting added to the same water. Amount of fresh water is decreasing, saline water is increasing. So it becomes denser and it will finally sink to the bottom. Then it will move all across the ocean floor. We'll see how it moves in this video. You can literally see these faint colors are deep ocean currents, and it is moving because of density difference. So density difference between these regions and other regions somewhere in Antarctica is different. So that's why it is moving all the way towards the Antarctica. And in this way it is covering the entire Atlantic Ocean, and not only Atlantic, even it is there in Pacific, it is there in Indian Ocean. You can see. So this is the deep water circulation. It's moving all the way to the Antarctica. This is your Gulf Stream, white one. It is moving all the way to the Antarctica, and here we can see there are some regions close to Ross Sea. There it is going down, and there are some places where it is coming up again. So one arm is going this side. Now here it is coming to the surface. See, this is your equatorial region, and in some equatorial regions there are specific places where we have upwelling. Now upwelling is due to various reasons. Upwelling takes place when we have divergence, and in this region we have divergence. I will describe about this. So whenever we have divergence in the open ocean, it will create upwelling. When we have convergence in the open ocean, it will create downwelling. Okay, so vertical mixing is important. Now this is your Pacific region. All across the Pacific we have surface currents, and in the down regions, in the ocean floors of Pacific, there is a deep ocean circulation going on. Is this clear? So you can see it's awesome, right? And you can see this is ACC, Antarctic Circumpolar Current, world largest current, and world fastest current is Gulf Stream. Okay, so yeah, that's complete. Now this is all about thermohaline circulation. I will describe further. But this thermohaline circulation in Atlantic region is also known as Atlantic meridional overturning circulation. It is basically a part of thermohaline circulation which is occurring in the Atlantic region. So in the Atlantic, the entire thermohaline circulation kick starts in Atlantic, basically near the Arctic regions. Their water become dense enough to sink, and then the whole circulation initiates, right? So in the Atlantic region, it is considered as Atlantic meridional overturning circulation, and it is very important as far as climate is concerned. See, if Atlantic meridional overturning circulation simply slows down, it will create chaos to the world climate. I will tell you how. See, this is this video. Let me play. Yeah, this is your Gulf Stream. No. Here we have Indian Ocean. So here we can see that this is your Atlantic Ocean. Okay, now here we can see that there are various eddies. Okay, these circular motions are basically considered as eddies. Now these eddies are sometimes warm core, these are sometimes cold core. But one thing is common. These eddies, as you move away from the equator, eddies becomes more and more rounded, and as you come towards the equator, eddies becomes more and more straight. Okay, straight होने लगेंगे. They are more curved in the higher latitude, and the reason behind it is Coriolis force. Coriolis force is zero at equator, and as you move away, Coriolis force decreases, right? Increases. मतलब at higher latitude, Coriolis force increases, which creates more deflection, and due to more deflection, there is more curvature in the gas. Now suppose this, let's have a look first. You can see there are more gyres, small number of gyres, and this is your equatorial line. Here it's almost straight. It's almost straight. There is no curvature at all. There is no gaps on the equator. It's not possible except some conditions. Okay. Now think of it. Suppose the entire ATMOC suddenly stops or suddenly slows down. AMOC. Okay, AMOC is your AMOC, short form AMOC, Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation. What happened? Due to this AMOC, the temperature of the entire Earth's surface is maintained. How? From the equatorial region, the warm water is moving towards the pole, and from the polar region, the cold current is moving towards the equator. So in this way, there is a balance of temperature between the polar region and the equatorial region. And due to this, equator never warms more and polar region never cools very less. So ना ही वो ज़्यादा ठंडा हो पाता है, ना ही इक्वेटर बहुत ज़्यादा गर्म हो पाता है. So it maintains certain kind of temperature. At the same time, this thermohaline circulation also dissolves oxygen rich air from the polar region, and this dissolved oxygen then utilized by deep ocean organisms. Okay. Also this meridional circulation is also controlling nutrient supply to the entire ocean. So this is very important. Now think of it. Suppose sometime here, this is your Greenland. क्या करते हैं कि ग्रीनलैंड के सारे आइस को मेल्ट कर देते हैं. लेट्स मेल्ट ऑल द आइस ऑफ ग्रीनलैंड. What will be the effect in nearby region? What will be the effect? It will simply decrease the salinity of this region. Okay, it is ice sheet, no? Let's melt the entire ice sheet of Greenland. So the water will enter into the ocean, nearby oceans, and it will decrease the salinity. And once salinity will decrease, now the water over here is no more denser. Even if it is cold, it is no more denser. So see, यहाँ water इसलिए sink करता है because it is cold, at the same time it is saline. But here, due to melting of this Greenland ice, now water becomes less saline. So it will no more move down. And if water will never move down, the entire AMOC, the entire thermohaline circulation will stop. No. और अगर ऐसा हो जाएगा तो क्या होगा? This equatorial region becomes more warm and the polar regions become more cold. So there is another ice age. So here you can see that literally this global warming is causing global cooling actually. So because of this global warming, the Greenland is melting, and because of Greenland melting, there's a decrement of salinity. Decrement of salinity cause this thermohaline circulation, closing of thermohaline circulation, and finally this entire region becomes frigid. Okay, क्योंकि अब बहुत ज़्यादा ठंडा होने लगेगा ना. This region will warm and this region becomes more and more chilled. So it will simply cooling. No, it is, देखो, अगर suppose ice यहाँ growth होने लगा, right? So it will increase the albedo of Earth. Right now the albedo of Earth is 30%. But after some point of time, since ice content of ice will increase in the high latitude region, the entire Siberia, Europe, everything will becomes ice zone. Okay, so it will increase the albedo, and if global albedo will increase, suddenly the total insolation on the Earth's surface will also decreases in inverse proportional. No, so insolation कम होगा. So what happened? The total amount of energy reaching to the surface will decrease, and finally it over a large period of time, it will move towards a global cooling, another ice age. Okay, I will come to that. Now during the movement of these water, see, suppose Gulf Stream is say moving from Florida region towards the Europe. It is basically displacing lots of warm water to the European region, and in this way, it is basically warming up in the winters. Okay, so the amount of water which is moving, there we use this unit. Okay, so 1 Severdub is basically a unit uh, to measure amount of water displaced by the current, and 1 Severdub is equal to 1 million meter cube per second. समझ रहे हो? यानी अगर कोई करंट 1 मिलियन वाटर एक सेकंड में मूव कर रहा है, दैट इज कंसिडर्ड एज 1 सेवर्ड एंड इट्स वेरी ह्यूज अमाउंट। ओके, मतलब 1 सेवर्ड इज इक्वल टू द टोटल अमाउंट ऑफ रिवर्स ऑन द अर्थ। जितने भी रिवर्स हैं वो सिर्फ 1 सेवर्ड के ही इक्वल है। इट इज equal to 1 सेवर्ड, the entire rivers of each and every continent. So in Day After Tomorrow, ये मूवी देखना, इट्स वेरी नाइस मूवी। एंड देयर दे टोल्ड दैट कि द इंटायर थर्मल एंड सर्कुलेशन, द इंटायर एमॉक is collapsed, and because of that this America is freezing now. You can see everything is freezing. It's a ice is यहाँ बताया गया है because of this thermal and circulation वो अचानक से स्टॉप हो जाता है। एंड वाई दिस थर्मल एंड सर्कुलेशन इज स्टॉपिंग? बिकॉज ऑफ ग्लोबल वार्मिंग। So this global warming leads to global cooling, and finally it leads to ice age. Okay, isn't it amazing? Okay, now one more thing. Here we have Gulf Stream. Okay, this is Florida current, and then it turns into Gulf Stream. Finally, this Gulf Stream is going like this and putting all the warm water to the European regions, coast of Europe, London, and all. Okay, now because of this all warm waters here, temperature is mild. Okay, now you can see that at a same latitude in here in the Canadian region, the temperature is minus 11.6 11 degrees Celsius, minus 11, while over here it's 5 degrees Celsius. It's all because of Gulf Stream. Okay, so Gulf Stream is basically uh, warming this region, which is important. At this latitude, generally here we have ice, but in London it is free from ice. So it is basically there is milder winters. Winter जो होगा या mild होगा because of this Gulf Stream. If this AMOC will stop, the temperature falls down by 10 degree. So right now it is 5 degrees Celsius. After AMOC, the finally collapse of AMOC, it will turn into minus 5 degrees Celsius. And why it is happening? It's all because of global warming. So in this particular animation, we can see how our earth is warming from 1927 to till now. तो यहाँ देख सकते हैं how earth is warming with time, and you can see that there is a kind of blob or a lens shaped structure over here which is still cold, and that's the reason why still AMOC is working, still thermohaline circulation is working. But no doubt the intensity is less right now. Initially you can see this region is much colder. Let me play. There is a seasonal variation, but no doubt here right now we have all across rise in temperature, but this particular spot is still having some cold conditions. No doubt the amount of coldness is decreasing with time. समझ रहे हो ना? The nearby region is warming, so the intensity is decreasing. Like few hundred years back, AMOC is stronger, thermohaline circulation is stronger, and which is good for Earth because these oceans are like carbon sink. If thermohaline circulation is working properly, then only it will sink more and more carbon. Okay, we are generating lots of carbon, right? If say here we have cold water, right? Now we know that according to gas law of dissolutions, there we know colder the water, more the dissolution of gas. Okay, so CO2 will more and more dissolved in the water, no? If ocean becomes warm, which you can see here, it is warming in 2020, it's all warm water. So it will create first less dissolution of carbon dioxide. At the same time, it will also create thermal expansion of water, and thermal of expansion of water simply increases the sea level. Right now the rise of sea level is around 3.3 millimeter per year, which is increasing. Maybe after 5 years it becomes 10 millimeter per year. Maybe next 15 years it becomes 20, like that. Okay, now let's talk about different water masses. So I told you water mass is what? Water mass is basically having parameters like salinity and temperature. So it's a body of water having different salinity and different this thing moisture. Okay, so we have two different water masses, say AABW and another one is NADW. So the properties are different in these two. In the same water mass you will have same properties all across. So here temperature is same, here temperature is same, here temperature is same, salinity is also same throughout. But when you compare two different water masses, the property will change. So the here, okay, now it's a common sense. This is AABW. AABW is what? Antarctic bottom water. NAW is what? North Atlantic deep water. MIW means Mediterranean intermediate water. AIW means here we have AIW. AIW is Arctic. This is Arctic. See, this is North. So this is Arctic. Arctic intermediate water. AIW means what? If you have double A, that means Antarctic. Antarctic intermediate water. Here in this case we have NPIW. NPIW means North Pacific intermediate water. This is Pacific sea water. Okay, passive, it's not surface. Here we are considering it's sea. Okay, or subsurface. Some places it is considered as subsurface. Double S लिखा दिया जाता है. And this RSIW is Red Sea intermediate water, and remaining everything is same. So this is Pacific subsurface water. NPIW means North Pacific intermediate water, Antarctic intermediate water, Antarctic bottom water. This is Indian Ocean. In Indian Ocean we have three major water masses, that is AABW, Antarctic bottom water, Red Sea intermediate water, and Antarctic intermediate water. Now sometimes they simply ask to arrange the water masses according to their depth. So let's say Atlantic. So the deepest one is your Atlantic bottom water. And why it is in the deeper region? Because it is the coldest one and it is having more salinity too. As you move up, the temperature will simply increase. Okay, and salinity is also decrease. Salinity will decrease. We have some exceptions like MIW. Now, see, this MIW is Mediterranean intermediate water, which is warmer than North Atlantic deep water, and it is in the lens shape structure. I will describe why it is in the lens shape structure, why it is not all across the NADW. So for this you have to know about this Mediterranean region. Now this is your S-shaped Atlantic Ocean. Okay, here we have Mediterranean Ocean, and here at this point there is a Strait of Gibraltar. Okay, now you can see that the entire Mediterranean region is surrounded by land, right? And at the same time it belongs to tropical region, right? It is close to the tropical region. So warming is no doubt more, and since there is no discharge of river in this, so overall here we have more evaporation than precipitation, so it will cause more salinity. See, we have more temperature, at the same time we have more salinity. Now if we increase the temperature, what happen? The water mass become less dense, so it never be sink. But at the same time you can see here we have overall more evaporation, and during evaporation salt content will increase. At the same time it will also cause decrement of temperature. जब भी कोई चीज इवेपोरेट होता है, it will decrease the temperature of that particular body from where it is getting evaporated. जैसे घड़ा घड़ा का पानी evaporate होता है from earthen pot. When the water evaporate, this earthen pot becomes basically the temperature will decrease in the earthen pot. No, temperature fall करता है. So yeah, so overall salinity is dominant over the temperature. So because of this salinity, the water will become denser and it will enter into this Atlantic region. Now the amount of water which is added is no doubt less as compared to Atlantic Ocean. So here it is in the what? A lens shape structure. So the temperature in the nearby region is no doubt less. So say it's basically difference is around 10 degrees Celsius. So here it is 10, and when you no, here in the MIW the temperature is 10, and when you go outside of this MIW, temperature becomes 0, close to 0, or sometimes 1, like that. So there is a 9 to 10 degree difference. Now let's see detailed view. So how this entire water mass that NADW initiates. NADW, this is your North Atlantic deep water. Now this is your Arctic region. Here this is your Greenland, which is a ice sheet, and this is your sea ice. Here we have sea ice. Sea ice is your Arctic. Arctic is sea ice, remember, and Antarctic is ice sheet. Okay. So sea ice is surrounded by land, and Antarctic is a ice sheet which is surrounded by oceans. So now when sea ice forms, it will increase the salinity of the below water. Okay. At the same time, since it is close to the pole, the water is very having less temperature, so which basically increase the density. When the water become dense enough, it will simply overflow. So here we can see that the dense water flows over the ridge, and finally it is moving beneath the warmer water. So here we have a waterfront. This is a surface water, which is a Gulf Stream. Gulf Stream is coming like this, no, and here it becomes cold enough to sink down. So here this is your NADW, North Atlantic deep water, this arrow, and this is your surface water, that is your Gulf Stream. Okay, clear? And this is your Greenland Scotland ridge. So over this ridge dense water is moving down, and it is going all the way to the Antarctica, where it finally come to the surface. And why here it is coming to the surface? Because in this region we have divergent zone. यहाँ क्या हो रहा है कि वाटर डाइवर्ज कर रहा है. सो दिस AAIW and AABW is getting diverged. So whenever in the ocean we have divergence, there in that region we have upwelling. So यहाँ से ये upwell करता है यहाँ. Okay, finally we have upwelling over here. So one arm of this upwelling water mass will enter into AABW, Antarctic bottom water, and another arm in this side is becoming a part of Antarctic intermediate water. So remember, here we have what? Divergence, and because of the divergence there is upwelling zone. This is the zone of convergence, this AIW. Here we have convergence, and because of convergence we have downwelling. That's why it is moving down, and here it is moving down because of what? Because of high salinity and low temperature. So remember, NADW is coming because of upwelling, AAIW is moving because of downwelling, and this is moving because of cold water and high salinity. I hope this is clear. Okay, so this is all about Atlantic Ocean. Again, in Pacific Ocean, things are a kind of you can say same. Only the difference is this Pacific subsurface water and Atlantic bottom water. So here almost we have same kind of uh, density. Okay, and that's the reason why both are pushing each other. It's like a static front. I told you, no, there are different types of air front: cold front, air front, warm front, static front, occluded front, or static को stationary front भी कहते हैं. So here stationary front like situation is happening. Okay. Okay, now remember that overall the density of this Antarctic bottom water is highest. And why I am talking it's highest? Because it is in every ocean. It is in Indian Ocean also. You can see Antarctic bottom water. At the base of every ocean you will get Antarctic bottom water. So suppose you are taking samples from Atlantic, from Pacific, from this Indian Ocean, you will get Antarctic bottom water. So आप sample ले रहे हो say 4000 मीटर से, you will always get this Antarctic bottom water everywhere. Okay. Okay. Here we have this NPIW. So in the same way, like Atlantic, every water mass will form, and it will always follow the rule of density. So denser the water, it is always in the lower region, and lighter the water, it is always on the top regions. Okay. Now let's talk about a water mass which is in Indian Ocean and it is very important. This is called Red Sea water mass. Now remember, the salinity of Gulf areas is even more than the closed sea. Okay, so we can see that these countries are Gulf countries. No, these are Gulf countries because it is surrounded by two Gulfs, Gulf of Persia and Red Sea Gulf. Okay, here we have Arabian Sea Gulf and this is a Gulf of Persia. Okay, so this is your Arabian Peninsula. So Gulf countries is basically having more saline regions. यहाँ देख रहे हो ना? See, this is desert. This is entire desert. Here we have desert. It is surrounded by desert. So the evaporation rate is very high. At the same time, it is closer to the equator. So what happened? More the temperature, more the evaporation, and more the evaporation, more the increment of salinity. So again, it will form a isolated water mass in the Antarctic bottom water. Okay, Antarctic bottom water में एक lens shaped water mass form होता है, that is RSIW, and its salinity is even more than, its temperature is even more than your Mediterranean water mass, intermediate water mass. Okay, ज़्यादा है क्योंकि ये गल्फ है, गल्फ रीजन. In India, we have two Gulf regions like Gulf of Saurashtra and Gulf of Khambat. Their salinity of water is more, right? Now let's compare each and every water masses. Okay, so this is your temperature. As you move up, y-axis is temperature axis. As you move up, temperature will increase. And this is your salinity axis. So as you move from left to right, salinity will increase. Salinity is in PSU, practical salinity unit, and temperature is in degree Celsius. And these lines are density lines. So here we know that density is a function of temperature and salinity. So these lines are different densities. Okay, let's start with NaCSW. NaCSW means North Atlantic Central Surface Water. North Atlantic Central Surface Water. So here we can see that the temperature is around 10 degrees Celsius and the salinity is around 35 degrees Celsius. So yeah, let's see more salinity, and so more salinity is MIW. It is having 36, even more than 36 salinity. That's why it is denser. That's why it is in this region. What about this Antarctic bottom water? See, this Antarctic bottom water is no doubt it's very cold. It is close to zero, right? At the same time, its salinity is around 34.57. So that's why it is here in the bottom region. सबसे ज़्यादा ठंडा है ना, amongst them it is the coldest one. Okay, so here density is increased due to what? Temperature is the prominent thing over salinity, and that's why it is the densest. यहाँ टेम्परेचर एक्ट कर रहा है, इट्स नॉट सैलिनिटी विच कंट्रोल्स, क्योंकि देखो MIW इज हैविंग मोर सैलिनिटी, स्टिल इट इज ऑन द टॉप, it is having more temperature also, no? So in different cases, different parameters plays a role. Here salinity plays a role, it decides density. In a case of Antarctic bottom water, this temperature decides the density. Okay, this is your North Atlantic deep water, this is your Antarctic intermediate water, so that's why it is on the little bit higher region. Now you can see where is this RSIW, Red Sea intermediate water mass कहाँ है, where it is. So its temperature and density is so high that it is not fixed to this particular graph. We have to oversize this graph to see RSIW. See, RSIW is over here. Even more salinity, this is 36.5. If you increase somewhere here, we have around 40, and temperature is further high. So it is basically not fitted to this graph. Okay, now these water masses somehow creates deep ocean circulation, and deep ocean circulation is simply creating what? Ocean mixing. Ocean mixing के लिए क्या चाहिए? Here this surface current Gulf Stream is turning into deep ocean currents. So basically due to movement, vertical movement, there is a mixing, no? So here it's due to you can say increase of salinity, decrease of temperature, we have mixing. But also because of upwelling, because of downwelling, we have mixing. And the ocean mixing time is 1,000 years. So if you put something over here, it will take 1,000 years to cross the entire ocean through this thermohaline circulation. Okay, you are putting say particle x, so it will enter into thermohaline circulation and it will take 1,000 year at least to again come to this point. So this is the mixing time. So in this 1,000 years time, it will become a part of every ocean, you can say. Okay, now this Ekman transport and Ekman spiral is important over here. I will tell you why. Actually, it is a part of waves, but now let's see why it is important. We know that surface current is always moving in the direction of 45 degree to the wind. Okay, it always moves at a direction 45 degree to the wind due to this Coriolis force effect. Okay, Coriolis force के कारण वो कुछ angle पे move करता है, and as it moves down, the angle will further increase with respect to this wind. इसके respect में it is increasing, right? And also you can see that the magnitude is decreasing. So because of the friction on the top, we have air ocean interface, so friction is less. As we move down, due to hydrostatic equilibrium and due to hydrostatic pressure, the pressure will increase and the magnitude will decrease, so the velocity of current will decrease, and that's why the size of arrow is decreasing. There is a point when the direction of current is exactly in the opposite of wind. So this spiral movement is called Ekman spiral, right? It is. So if you put something, say thermocol with some mass, this thermocol will deflect in different direction in different depths in all 100 meter. If you put over here, it will move in this direction. If you put over here, it will move in this direction. Like this, it will keep changing. But the net movement, if you do vector on this, okay, तो वेक्टर से तुम जब डायरेक्शन पता लगाओगे, the net movement is always at a 90 degree. In the northern hemisphere it is towards the right, in the southern hemisphere it is towards the left. Now see this video. See this video. Actually, this video is a part of Udemy course. Last year I did this course. Okay. Okay. So let me play. Okay. Now we know that close to this Antarctica we have this thing, westerlies, right? Here at this latitude we have movement of westerlies, and due to westerlies, the surface current also follows west to east direction, and this is your ACC basically. Antarctic circumpolar current. Okay, so Antarctic circumpolar current is moving from west to east. Now think of it. As it moves, what happened? It is moving actually from west to east, right? So ये west to east move कर रहा है. रुको एक second. West to east move कर रहा है. Now think of it. It get deflected because of this Ekman transport. I told you, right? Ekman transport and Ekman spiral, all these things will happen over here. So it will get deflected. Ekman spiral will work. As we move down, the intensity will decrease because of friction. So Ekman transport is in the north. It is always to the left in the southern hemisphere. Is this clear or not? This Ekman transport is in this direction. And why this Ekman transport is walking to the left? Because it is southern hemisphere. And as the velocity will differentiate, no, because of this Coriolis force. So at different depths we have different velocities. So it will create a pressure gradient force. If the velocity is more, then the region will become low pressure zone. If velocity is less, then that region becomes high pressure zone. So in this way, differential pressure will create it, and differential pressure due to this differential pressure we have finally PGF, formation of PGF. Now you can see that this Coriolis force is balanced by PGF in the ocean. So it is a geostrophic current situation, no? This is geostrophic current situation, no? Okay, madam. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so this is your geostrophic current situation, and this geostrophic current situation is followed by ACC, Antarctic Circumpolar Current. Thanks, ma'am. Okay, so this is clear. Ekman transport, Ekman spiral, everything geostrophic current in the oceans. Okay, now let's talk about different kind of ocean mixing. So we know that here in the equatorial region we have equatorial currents. Equatorial current simply follows what? It follows your trade winds. So trade winds basically push all the warm water towards the west side of every ocean, and here we have western intensification zones. So these zones are western intensified zones. So basically because of this sterlies, because of the continent on the west side, there is a piling of water, and this piling of water will simply rise the level of water in these regions. Okay, now because of this equatorial currents, there is a high level at the western side of the continent, and there is low level of water in the eastern side of the continent. So here we have now more water mass, and since the continent is present, the water will simply goes down. There is no other way. It never penetrate this continent to move into this Indian Ocean. ये penetrate तो नहीं कर सकता है. So it will simply move down, and so these regions are downwelling zones. These regions here we have downwelling zones, while in the eastern side we have upwelling zones. To compensate the deficiency of water mass by equatorial currents, there is a there is what there is a upwelling in these regions, so you will get more upwelling in these regions. Also there is a upwelling in the equatorial counter current zone. Kaise? Think of it. This equatorial current is moving like this equatorial current is moving like this. So for this equatorial current, right is in this direction, deflection is in this direction. For this equatorial current, deflection is again in the left. So this is moving this way, this is moving this way, yani both are moving away from each other. And remember, whenever we have divergence in open ocean, it will lead to upwelling zones, and whenever we have convergence in the open ocean, it will leads to downwelling. Okay, so that's why we have upwelling in this equatorial countercurrent region. Okay, now because of that, you can see there is one upwelling over here, over here, over here, and these are the gyres. We have total 5 gyres. Okay, now think of it. This Ekman transport also creates upwelling zones. So over here, suppose this is the continent. Okay, a wind is moving from this way to this way. Okay, now let's assume this is your northern hemisphere. So in northern hemisphere, the Ekman transport is in the right direction of wind. So wind is like this, and the right is this one. No, so water is moving actually this way, away from the coast. And whenever water is moving away from the coast, it will create deficiency zone on the surface. Now to balance that deficiency zone, to make it equilibrium, the water from the subsurface will come to the surface, and that is create upwelling zones over here. Again, this photo is your downwelling photo. Okay, why there is a downwelling? Because the direction of wind is now different, it is exactly opposite. But since this is the northern hemisphere, the Ekman transport is again in the right. So for this wind direction, the right is this one, the right is this one, right to इधर होगा ना. So the right is towards the continent, and there is no other way to break the continent by the water, so water will simply goes down. So downwelling is there. You can see this is the northern hemisphere, upwelling is going here, and here we have downwelling, and it's all because of wind direction reversal. Earth is rotating like this, rotation of earth. Is this clear? So current direction will simply governs ki upwelling hoga ki downwelling. Now sometimes upwelling is also occurred due to variety of factors, other factors. Suppose wind is moving off the shore, so it will drag the air this way, and which will create a deficiency in this zone, and finally we have upwelling. Again, this wind is also getting deflected towards right by Coriolis force. But if this region is close to the equator, we know there is no that much of Coriolis force. Okay, so simply the water current as well as the wind will follow the straight line, and in this way we have upwelling zones right at the 90 degree or certain degree. If we have sea floors, obstruction on the sea floors like table mounts, guyotts, then we have upwelling. The current is coming like this. It should move this way, but there is some obstruction. It will simply come to the surface. In this way, it will simply uh, come to the surface with nutrient rich water. Okay, so here the productivity will increase in this region. We know the upwelling zones are highly productive zones. Okay, this is the another upwelling example. So if there is a shear effect, we can see that this current is coming this way, and as it moves in this area, there is a friction of horizontal friction, you can say. There is a horizontal friction of this current with nearby water, so it will drag water from this region also. जैसे ये current जा रहा है, so the current is also in contact with the here water masses over here, so it will simply create shear effect, and due to this shearing, water will upwell in this region. Okay, so if there is a sharp bend along the coastline, which is common in the California region of America, we get upwelling. Okay, is this clear? Is this clear or not? Okay, so downwelling, always remember, on the west side of the ocean. In this side we have upwelling. There are again certain conditions in which there is a reversal occur. जैसे कि if say INSO is there, in a case of INSO, El Nino अगर आ जाएगा, so things get reversed. So yeah, there are some exceptions, except that we always have downwelling on the western side of the oceans, and western intensification is maximum in the Pacific because Pacific is the bigger one. Here we have more well, this the trade winds cover the more path, so yeah, no doubt downwelling will be more in that region. And I told you about this downwelling is there in AIIW. So why there is a downwelling over here? Because whatever is upwelled in the NADW region, North Atlantic deep water, it is divided into two arms. One arm is again moving this way, another arm is moving this way. And why there is a downwelling? Because convergence is there. So one arm is moving this way, right, and another arm is from this way. So both are converging at this point, and finally, see, we have AIW. So this is the downwelling zones, one zone, another zone, and this yellow lines is the region of upwelling, and here also we have upwelling. So there are two different regions. Here upwelling is due to Coriolis force. Okay, Coriolis force is basically deflecting the equatorial currents in this way or this way. So they are diverging away from each other. That's create equatorial counter current, and there we have upwelling zones. Here we have upwelling because of to compensate the deficiency. यहाँ बहुत ज़्यादा एडिशन हो रहा है तो यहाँ लॉस हो रहा है, तो सो टू compensate this deficiency, here we have upwelling zones. Okay, we can also see that this NADW is the zone of upwelling. So one arm is moving this way, another arm is moving this way. I told you earlier. Okay, so we can see that surface water is pulled away all along the equatorial countercurrent zone. There is a effect of bending effect. So bending effect, this is California current, and I told you, and there we have some bending effect like this, effect of coastline, sharp coastline. Okay, and then this is sea mounts. It also creates this upwelling zones, and you can see the productivity is more even in the open oceans. So अगर open ocean में suppose we have high productivity, that means either there we have guyotts or sea mounts, or there is a zone of divergence, and yeah, these are the regions for high productivity. Okay, sometimes we have Langmuir cells. Langmuir cells are basically a shallow cells. Their depth is 10 meters, and it creates the parallel lines. You can see these parallel lines are formed in the oceans. Some years back there is a question on this. So ऐसा पूछा था कि if the formation of parallel lines in the open oceans shallow parallel lines, okay, which is associated with foams, some garbage traces. ये सब garbage और trace इधर form होने लगते हैं. These are considered as Langmuir cells. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Now, because of this vertical motions, okay, these garbage, this trash sometimes comes to the surface. It also, and we know that these all plastic bodies are basically floating in nature, no? So it in this way, if you put garbage say in the Indian Ocean, through this ocean mixing through this thermohaline circulation, it will take 1,000 years to move into the entire ocean region. And if in that period of time it got decomposed, पूरी तरह से decompose नहीं होगा, it will simply break into microplastic. It will simply eaten by all these organisms. You can see ये कोको करके एक पैसिफिक में बहुत ही लाइक आइसोलेटेड एक आइलैंड है, एंड देयर यू कैन सी इन द स्टमक ऑफ दिस एल्बाट्रॉस दिस थिंग bird, you can see there are plastics. So there is nothing like organic. अब कोई चीज़ organic रह ही नहीं गया है. Everywhere we have plastic, human imprints. Okay, so we are basically destroying the entire globe right now. Okay, so ये देख सकते हो, there is a Cure atoll, and it is in again Pacific Ocean, and there in the यहाँ के atoll एक island है, उस island पर इस bird के पेट में you can see lots of plastic. देख रहे हो ना, ये इसलिए नहीं मर गया क्योंकि लाइक खाने की कमी थी, ये इसलिए मर गया क्योंकि उसने गलत चीज खा लिया था, प्लास्टिक. या ह्यूमन इम्प्रिंट्स आर एवरीवेयर, डजंट मैटर वो इतना आइसोलेटेड आइलैंड हो. Yeah, so gyres, we know what gyres is. It is basically a loop-like structure. It is there in every ocean. So here we can see total number of gyres. Remember, in the subtropical region we have these 5 gyres. Okay, subtropical के ये 5 बड़े gyres हैं. Yeah, and I told you there are some big gyres and there are some small gyres also. So these minor gyres will more curve towards the higher latitude. At the lower latitude it is almost straight. You can see close to the equator the line is almost straight, but as you move up it is become curved and curved. It's all because of this Coriolis force thing. Okay, I told you already about this. Planetary vorticity will increase as you move towards the pole, right? Okay, now how to measure this deep current? For surface current, we have various devices, okay, flow meters there. But for deep currents, we have some Argos, we have ADCPs. Even ADCP is used for surface current, but for deep current also we can use that. So Argos are like this, these floating bodies. It is having sensor, it is having connection with the GPS, satellites, and it will continuously send the data to the nearby coast or to the ships. So all across the globe we have around 3,918 floats till 2015, and it is again increasing day by day. So yeah, it will give you the information like temperature, salinity variation, conductivity variation throughout the depth of the ocean, and in this way we come to know about ocean subsurface properties of the oceans. Okay, and this is called ADCP. Basically ADCP is acoustic Doppler current profiler. So using this you will come to know about various things like conductivity, salinity, temperature, pitch, roll, wave dynamics, movement of water molecules in 3D, okay, x, y and z axis. So yeah, so these are the different devices. Now it's not done yet. Okay, so here this is the my website. Before that I want to show real time currents. So this is your nullschool.earth. Just move to nullschool.earth, click on this, click here on the earth and shift to currents. So animate में right now it is wind, shift to current, height में it is surface, and overlay with ocean. यहाँ mode को ocean कर दो. So this mode is ocean. Now we have oceans. से animate current को करना है and overlay with say none. Yeah. So this is the real time current. Again, we know there is a variation of currents in different ocean. Surface current basically, deep current इससे तो आप देख नहीं सकते, but you can see the surface current, how it moves. This is your Gulf Stream moving all the way. This is your counter current and equatorial current, North Atlantic equatorial current, South equatorial current, and you can overlay with waves also. तो waves के साथ भी तुम overlay करके देख सकते हो. With currents also you can overlay. So these are the warm currents. This side we have cold currents. Okay. So this is all about currents. Okay. Now this is my website. अगर तुम अभी तक सुन रहे हो, that means you are serious about CSIR. So here I have something for CSIR. It's very important. Here I have 200 solved numericals, 4000 plus new questions, which is topic wise, which is in the form of practice papers, mock test papers. We have 100 plus formula, 40 practice papers, 25 mock test papers, step by step guidance from experts. If you are really interested, then have a look on this. Okay, chalo, देखो, right now it's 2:54 a.m. Still I am making video for you guys. So it's your like तुमको करना ही होगा यार. लाइक करो, कमेंट करो, शेयर करो, सब्सक्राइब करो. लाइक टिल नाउ आई थिंक अराउंड 40% लोग ही सब्सक्राइब किए हैं. सो या, इट्स माई हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट टू यू, सब्सक्राइब कर दो, कमेंट कर दो, लाइक करो. इतना तो कर ही सकते हो, 3 बजने वाला है. ओके, सो थैंक यू वेरी मच एवरीबॉडी. गुड नाइट. चलो अभी हमको अपलोड भी करना है, इट विल टेक टाइम. बाय.